is a national nonprofit organization that promotes the compassionate and respectful treatment of chickens, turkeys, ducks, and other domesticated fowl. We started receiving calls of distress from residents in Brooklyn and the Bronx back in 1994. We've existed since 1990. Telling me about a ritual I'd never heard of called Kaporos, and describing the fact that chickens were being held by the hundreds and thousands in transport crates without food, water, or any protection from the weather. And they were calling upon United Poultry Concerns, local residents that is, to please do something to help these chickens. The majority of people who have called us through the years have been members of the Jewish community who do not support or in any way participate in this ritual. We wrote letters to the editor. We had op-eds in Jewish newspapers in Los Angeles and in New York City papers, New York State papers. But we really believe, those of us who were working on this, and there have been people who have been working in New York City. Rena Dage, who's here with us right now, David Rosenfeld, Sam Schloss, and others, as individuals, to try to educate the community and to try to stop the use of chickens in the Kaporos ritual. But finally, in June of 2010, we all got together in the Manhattan office of Mercy for Animals, and we held our historic founding of the Alliance to End Chickens as Kaporos. The purpose of the Alliance to End Chickens as Kaporos is to draw public attention to the extreme animal cruelty of this ritual, to point out the fact that the ritual does not require the use of chickens or any other live animals, and to point out that most practitioners of Kaporos swing a packet of money and recite their chant of promising to do better in the next year, repentance for their sins, and promising to do better in the next year, and then donating that money to their favorite charity. Now, the use of money is every bit as acceptable as chickens in the Kaporos ritual. And one of the things that the Alliance to End Chickens as Kaporos is helping to make happen with other groups, including in Jerusalem and now in Los Angeles and New Jersey, is more and more Orthodox rabbis in Jerusalem, in the United States, are speaking out publicly, Orthodox rabbis are speaking out publicly against the use of chickens in the Kaporos ritual and urging practitioners of Kaporos to please use money instead. Now, in addition to the fact of the extreme cruelty to the birds, for example, they are trucked in from factory farms in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania. So they come from factory farms. They come from industrial farming conditions, which are cruel in and of themselves. And we rescued this little female chicken last night.
Yay!
Yeah. So they are trucking these birds in. We don't even know the last time these poor birds were likely to have been fed and received any water. But before they catch the chickens and throw them into the transport crates, they are usually taken away, all their food and water is usually taken away about 6 or 9 hours before the catching even takes place. Because if they're eating food, then there will be a splatter of droppings. And so this is also one of the reasons why the practitioners of Kaporos have no interest in feeding these birds or giving them water. Because when they start swinging them around their heads, if these birds were actually being fed and having water, then they would be splattered with the feces that the birds would naturally evacuate. So they have a big reason right there why they don't want to feed them. In any case, once the birds are trucked into New York City and other cities and urban areas where this practice is being conducted, they sit in transport crates. They cannot move in those transport crates. They cannot stand upright. The chickens cannot move their anybody who's ever been cramped in a airline seat or any other situation where they can't move their limbs knows what a terrible cramping experience that is and how you can't wait to stretch. So these birds are sitting there with unable to move their bodies, unable to stand upright, unable to stretch their wings or their legs. In addition, they are given no food at all. And in addition, the worst probably of all is they receive no water. Now, when an animal, whether it's a human being or a chicken or whoever it may be, does not receive water for 48 hours or so, then the risk of dehydration is very great. Once the body organs become dehydrated, they can never really revive even if the animal is given water. So this feeling that these birds have of sitting there, and for these baby chickens, they're only 6 weeks old, in transport crates, and not only in a crate but stacked in crates, maybe 8 or 10 high, in a world that couldn't make any sense to them, where they're cramped, where they have no food, where they're thirsty. Anybody who's ever been thirsty can imagine how awful it feels when you cannot get a drink of water. So they're sitting there long before the ritual is even officially being conducted, without food or water, unable to move. And then when the ritual actually gets started, practitioners will stand around and they will hold these birds suspended by their wings. Now, a bird's wings are not designed by nature to support their body weight. Birds have pain receptors throughout their body, including in their wings and the parts of their bodies to which the wings are attached. So when you hold a bird, a chicken or any other bird, with his or her wings suspended backward, you are causing extreme pain to that bird. You are also subjecting that bird to potential ligament damage, wing breaking, and other injuries. So we are looking at all of this, and then we are looking at the fact, of course, nobody who ever wants to be euthanized by having their throat cut. So when we hear that cutting the throats of chickens or any other animals is humane, we already know that the throat tube and the trachea and all of those parts of their neck and connected to their face, all of that is filled with pain receptors, and just having a blade next to your face can only be the most terrifying situation, regardless of what species you belong to. Now, in addition to the fact of the cruelty I have described, there is also the fact that this particular cruelty is against New York State animal cruelty laws, Article 26. You cannot, in New York City, legally deprive animals, including chickens, of food, water, and protection from the weather for more than 24 hours. So you have inherent cruelty and you have legally recognized cruelty here, and you have that law being broken. In addition, we now know that the practitioners are doing these illegal actions without having any permits. They're just simply allowed to do what other citizens in New York are not permitted to do without a permit. And they are breaking many New York City health laws. They cannot, it is illegal in New York City to allow any types of dead animal parts, some of which were already seen by one of our members here today up the street. You cannot have dead animal parts. You cannot have feces and feathers and fur out on city streets. You cannot legally erect any type of slaughter operation in residential areas, which is what they're doing here. You cannot pile up animals as they do here. And what they're doing here is there's also the fraudulence of pretending that these birds are going to be given to the quote-unquote poor, when in fact the majority of the birds are being put dead and alive in huge black plastic trash bags and either left there for the city sanitation workers to take them off to landfills, or they're hurling them in the plastic bags, dead and alive, into the dumpsters. So you've got fraudulence, you've got animal cruelty, you've got illegality, all happening here simultaneously in the conduct of this ritual.
Right.
So, given the fact that Kaporos is not required by Jewish law, it is a medieval custom that most Jewish people do not practice in any way, shape, or form, let alone with chickens. So it is not part of the Torah or the Talmud. It is not required. Orthodox rabbis such as Rabbi Stephen Weil of the Orthodox Union of New York told me very emphatically on the phone that we do not support this ritual. It is not in keeping with Jewish law. It shows insensitivity to the chickens, and basically we're ashamed of it. We're ashamed of it. We're ashamed to have ourselves associated with anything as cruel and frankly ridiculous as this. So that's why we're here today. If you want to practice Kaporos, which means atonements or replacement or a substitute, you can use money. And increasingly, Orthodox rabbis around the world are telling their congregations, do not use chickens, use money. Because this is swinging money and giving it directly to charity is in the true spirit of what this week leading up to the Jewish Day of Atonement is all about. It's about repentance, showing mercy, and performing acts of kindness, not performing acts of cruelty. So to swing these chickens and slaughter them as an atonement exercise, actually, as Orthodox rabbis have pointed out, Orthodox rabbi, Hasidic rabbi, Rabbi Gershom and others, actually adds sin rather than taking sins away.
Exactly. Right.
So on that note, I want to introduce you to this lovely, sweet little female chicken. She's about 6 weeks of age. She was rescued last night.
Aww.
She's going to live in a sanctuary and be treated with the love and respect that she deserves. She will get a chance to experience grass. She will have water. She will have food. She will have other chickens to be with. She will have loving human caregivers. And this is her good fortune, unlike the majority of others. And what we're here for is to say we are working for the day when every chicken will have the life that they deserve. A life outdoors, in the grass, in the sunshine, in the fresh air, treated with respect as fellow creatures who share this earth with us.
That's right, Karen. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everything you do.
So I'm here to answer any questions that may be asked. And for anybody who came who's from the press, I have press packets to give to you with very specific information in the packet, including specific information about the many city health code laws that are being broken and violated by the practitioners of this ritual. So thank you again, and I will answer any questions that anybody may have.
Good job, Karen.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
The people who do Kaporos, they claim most of the chickens are fed to charity. And what evidence do you have that that's not true?
We have